What up, people? This is your boy Gerald. It is the 3rd of June, 2016. How is everybody doing? You are in the back end of your week. You're getting ready to jump into your weekend, y'all. That's right. So, how is everybody doing? I hope wherever you are, life is finding you well. You're sidestepping the negativity, grounding your feet, making a conscious point to invest in yourself. That means you got to love you, y'all. That's right. You got to put in those seeds, those spiritual seeds. I know I'm talking to someone, but more importantly, you're bringing the end of a work week to a close. Some of y'all are about to embrace this weekend, which was long overdue. But I also know that there are those who are parents, and you're starting to see the harvest of your child or children's educational path for the year. Let me go ahead and congratulate you right now. But I'm putting this video out before I start my day, and I see that there's another story being splashed over social media, and I think it's out of Phoenix, of a woman that was at her wits end, and she decided to. She felt that life was not worth living, and not only did she choose to end the lives of her three sons, but in the process, she was also pregnant and wanted to commit suicide. Just so happened that her family member happened to be coming over to visit, and she locked him in the garage. And this is reported on, I think it was Media Takeout, give them credit. Um, and her brother was able to break in and subdue her from causing herself additional harm. Well, when I read that story, a couple things crossed my mind right off the bat. It seems like every year there's always a story that comes out and it has the same theme. And it's always in regards to the loss of life of a child. It's always the the byproducts of a decision made by the parent every year. Now, we know it's social media. You're gonna have some people that are gonna have a "I told you so" mindset and use that as a way to throw more injury, more ignorance, more hate on a wound that is very tragic. But when I read the story, um, my heart went out because there are four children that will not be able to live their dreams. There are people connected to this mother that will be forever mourning the loss of these children. But the one thing that made me question was, where was the father or the fathers of these children? What about the signs that were being exhibited through her behavior? Um, you're telling me that the family didn't notice something? Um, or those people that were deemed to have access to this woman's life, her friends? You know, it's very disturbing because each year, doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter the economics, it's still a loss. It's still an example that it serves as a reminder to everybody. Number one, how precious life really is. You know what I'm saying? Because as I read the story, the question that kept echoing for me was, what occurred in your life that you felt the only option you had was termination of life for those children? What was going on within your emotional self that you felt that taking a position of humility and asking for support was not viable? You know, there's going to be plenty of people that are going to probably talk about this story. I know I'm waiting to hear what um, Tommy Sotomayor, his take, because that's, if I'm correct, he lives out in that area. So I know that the media is probably already latched on, and they're going to run this story for quite some time. So I'll be interested to hear his perspective on that. But far too many times, y'all, we are allowing the things that should be dealt with, we give it a pass. And what I'm talking about is that thing we know is fear. You know, finally everything's a reality now, and it's right there. But because we allow our pride, we allow our egos, there's more loyalty in that than it is within ourselves. You got to ask yourself, what's going on with that? Why is that so accepted in our community? How about in mankind? Why is it that it's better to, as long as I ain't got nothing to do with it, it's okay? But at the end of the day, those children ain't coming back. At the end of the day, sooner or later, after the care is done, because she did not commit suicide, she's sitting in she's been admitted from observation. Sooner or later, the clarity is going to come, and the accountability of her actions are going to rise, and that's when the pain really comes to the surface. So what made me think was, what happened? What was so bad that you felt that deal's off now? I can't do this. This is my breaking point, and this is the only option I got. You know, you got to scratch your head. What was going on with you that you felt that, hey, maybe I'm not in an emotional state that I can give the care that my sons need. Maybe I need to go ahead and humble myself and ask for help. How about if your family can't give you the support, go the option of relinquishing your parental rights temporarily till you can get it together. Because when it comes to death, ain't no coming back. Now, this isn't a rant. This is just an observation, because see, stuff like this happens every day. And far too many times, we as people want to take the PC approach instead of being courageous and tightening up our bootstraps and dealing with what that obstacle is. Maybe that obstacle meant, hey, I got to love myself more. Maybe I need to speak my truth and admit to myself, I can't do this. I need help. But see, we live in a society now that denial is celebrated, illusion is promoted, and the things that matter most to us are put to the back burner. So what do we get? We get an idolization of people lost in translation because of what they see and what they think they know in their environment, only to realize that what was a perception was really a distraction. I know I'm talking to someone. So how you doing, y'all? Hmm? Are you loving you today? Or are you, like so many people, have a invested interest in promoting self Stockholm syndrome? So what I mean by that, you are allowing your environments that are suppressing who you are destined to be. You're giving them a pass, only for them to add more. See, nothing changes when it comes to the viewpoint of an opportunist. See, for an opportunist, that is nothing but fulfilling the agenda and the means to an end. And they don't have a problem sacrificing themselves and those who are connected to them because of a illusion. I'm gonna tell you what, y'all. I'm sick and tired of people not taking accountability for their lives and allowing the fantasies that are placed in what we know as programming on a TV near you, and you think that that is real. It's time that you look a little deeper. It's time for you to stop running. If you're going through something, it will not change unless you acknowledge it exists. But what's at stake is your self-worth. How about that life? How about that beautiful mind? How about all the dreams and aspirations that were planted inside you the moment that you were given the breath of life that will make your purpose? What about that? You think you're going to find your dreams and aspirations by another fool laying on top of you? By another person that says that they have your best interest only to betray you? No, I say to each and every one of you, have the courage to speak your truth by loving yourself more. What do I always echo, y'all? What do I always echo? Not everybody's supposed to know your story, but there'll be many that will want to walk with you. But see, if they don't walk with God first, they'll never have a relationship with themselves. So if they don't have a relationship with themselves, they cannot have a relationship with you. Why? They'll never be able to see your worth because they can't speak their truth. They can't speak their truth even if you put it in a bag and put it in their pocket. They won't know the importance. What's wrong with that? At the end of the day, y'all, you got to tow your own rope. Sometimes you're going to walk by yourself. It's not out of punishment. It's out of protection. I know that we see this all the time. You see, I'm choosing to pick my words because I didn't want to throw the disclaimer out there because of how I really want to feel. It will reach the intended heart and mind because see, Gerald got much love for you, and Gerald wants you to live your life as it's intended, blessed. But to have a blessed life, don't you think there's some requirements? That means you must sacrifice. Not every time you're going to be able to participate in what the group is doing because you have something more important. I know I'm talking to someone. I got this feeling right now. Somebody supposed to be studying for a test. But guess what? They knocking on your door. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Whenever you feel kind of confused and you don't know which way to go, look at that student loan you got to pay for. I know I'm talking to someone. But see, I understand. Deep down inside, everybody deserves to be loved. But it doesn't matter until you learn to love yourself first. Don't get it twisted, y'all. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying take a position of being selfish, but just look at it this way. How can you help someone else if you have not helped you first? Let's use a metaphoric description. Think of yourself on a plane. The plane is going down. The breathing apparatus fall. You can't help them until you got that mask on you. Well, guess what? That mask is your spirit. That mask is a representation of your faith. Being able to believe in the things you cannot see. You think you was on this planet to play the Jezebel? To play the benefactor? Come on, homie. You running around trying to set your watch to what she's doing? You need to set your watch to what you need to do. Because I'm going to tell you what you may not realize, there is somebody out of this 7.6 billion people on this planet that spiritually got your name on their heart. They're being made new. The work is being done. And after the work has been done, God is going to move that veil. And they're going to come into your life. But if you're not prepared, guess what? You'll watch your blessing go to someone else. And it ain't nothing worse for someone to silently suffer knowing that the works that they should have done and the results of not. Because you got to understand something, y'all. God is a custom tailored God. He don't need your permission to love on you. He created you. This is nothing but a means of transportation on this planet, this earthly realm. You are a spiritual being first. And you know what's funny about that? The devil hates you for that. The devil wants your spirit. The devil wants you to suffer. That's why he lets all those people come into your life. Because don't get it twisted. You got all these new agers talking about the law of attraction. They only giving you pieces of what it is. The law of attraction is defined by one thing, and that's your spirit. We are what we attract. So guess what? If you've made a conscious decision to be a liar, does it surprise you that the people you contact or connect with they lie to you? If you do not see your work, do you not see the commonality of your environment does not see yours? Why? Because it's a representation of duality. You know that symbol, the yin and the yin and yang. One side's white, one side's black. Two dots. But what you fail to realize is the circle around it. Guess what? The circle represents your spirit. It doesn't matter if it's the white or black. One is positive energy. The other is negative. And the 2 dots, guess what that is? 1 dot represents unconditional love. The other represents free will. And you know what? It makes you. See, let me give you a visual. I wasn't even thinking about it. See my shirt? You see it? Free will, unconditional love. God is love. But you can't see in the background, that is a tree. That tree represents your lineage, your heritage. The roots is the foundations of those who have come before you. But if you don't know your past, you will never know where you're going. And you know what's embedded in that? Your purpose. But you will not be able to see that until you decide to have the courage to admit what's broken. I know I'm talking to somebody. You're saying to yourself, ain't no good women out here, Gerald. But you keep putting yourself on the path of more pain. You don't want just any woman. You want to prepare for the one. You know why I say the one? Because guess what? If it's blessed, she's going to inherit your last name, brother. Your last name, not hers. And she's going to know her worth. But more importantly, she's going to be your best friend. And you can't have a friendship without communication. Because you know what that communication is fostered by? Love. Love. What is love? That's favor. That's the display that God has given through mercy to give you the opportunity to fulfill your life. You can't find that in a new trinket. You can't. But if you let them tell you that, you might as well go ahead and attach the strings to your hand and play the puppet role. Because guess what? Anything that's made with man's hands is temporary. No matter how hard he tries, he will never be able to be God. That's why it's temporary. Why you think them cars come out every year and they try? Because it's not built for forever. I know I'm talking to somebody. So the question is, if you already know what does not work, why do you continually celebrate it and do not do what you need to do? I'll tell you why. Because your pride, your ego gives a platform for your insecurity for you to act upon. I know I'm talking to someone. You got a 4.0 GPA. Doors are open to you. But you put more worth on your backside and your cleavage. And then you wonder why you keep tripping, slipping, and busting your lip. You keep chasing after a carrot that's not meant for you to be bit. You'll come to understand, as long as you keep chasing after that carrot, you might as well take another bite out of that apple. Because what's going to come out of that apple? So tell me again why you're not beautiful. Tell me again why you're not unique in your own way. Tell me again why those gifts that God gave you naturally for the world to take hold and treasure are not worth being birthed out. Hmm? Let's talk about them friends you got. if they really your friends, why are they not empowering you to be the best you? I'll tell you why. Because they don't want you to see the best you. Because they know the moment that you see the best you, there ain't gonna be no room for them. There ain't gonna be no room for that table. So guess what? They keep deceiving you. They keep using your body as a playground. King, it ain't about what you got in your pocket, what you drive. That's most important. It's your character. How about that seed? See, she can't get pregnant without your consent. Do you understand that, right? So tell me again why you don't see your worth? Hmm? Because far too many times we living in a society where you have little boys and little girls in grown-up bodies, but do not have the mental capacity to deal with life. Instead of running from the challenge, they choose to check out. You think there's not a lot of people walking around with mental disorder? But silently every day they have addictions. See, one thing that you don't hear about, and I don't understand why, you got a lot of sex addicts walking around this planet, y'all. We do. Hmm. And this is a byproduct of they didn't get the attention, the nurturement, the appreciation in their youth. So they got to a point of brokenness where they said, I'm going to take things in my own hands. Oh, yeah, that's I am. I'm going to go ahead and build my life as I see fit. But it's not working now, is it? It's not working, is it, Queen? You say to yourself, well, Gerald, I'm educated. I'm financially, I can do it on my own. And now I will put the bigger piece into my life and have my white picket fence. Maybe you're not supposed to have a white picket fence. Maybe what you are supposed to have is beyond your comprehension. You can't see it until you see inside you. And let's don't get it twisted, y'all. Do you think it's kind of coincidental we live in a society that all the things that do not help you are promoted? Oh, let's get high. People are getting high like I don't know what. People are drinking that lean. People are alcohol, but we're not taking in consideration that, hey, even these, we're not looking at the effect down the road. Why? Because we condone it. You know, it's kind of like a socially pimp and hoe mentality. As long as you give me what I want, I'll give you what you need. And then you have some women that have adapted this Lynn Collins cliche, I'm going to use what I got to get what I want. But you'll come to understand as long as you use what you got to get what you want, it will only usher in more pain. It won't foster your worth, Queen. It won't foster your grace. So tell me again why you're not unique. And I'll show you a person that don't know them. Because you can turn around anything that you're going through. All you got to do is make the decision to stand. Take note while you're on your butt. Look around. Look around to see who's not there. Now be honest with the people who come around when you make a little footing. I learned a long time ago as a little boy, and I didn't understand it until I entered into adulthood. You don't want someone, if they're not there when you're on the ground, you don't want them when you take your first step, because it is about the struggle. The hardest challenge you're going to ever go through is learning and loving you. Queen, you think there's no, come on now, how many lives you going to take? No matter how hard you try to switch it up and reinvent yourself to someone that don't know your story. But just know this, because God loves you so much, he's loving for you. And he knows in the intended time and moment, guess what's going to happen? Your awakening is going to come. Mm-hmm. You're going to get to a breaking point and you're going to make a decision. You know, like the class, should I stay or should I go? I don't know why I'm saying that, but I got a feeling that somebody's getting ready to go because they realize that the life that they have is not their lives and they want some of them back. I know I'm talking to someone. You wasn't birthed on this planet to be the Saturday night special. Hmm? Playing the role on the Cartoon Network. Oh, it's going down in the den. Hmm. Let me tell you something. An opportunist does not need your help to expose themselves. But it does require your courage to see it for what it is. But know this, you had to sign off. You had to sign off. Because nobody can make you do anything you don't want to do. So let's go ahead and throw that out the window, y'all. Because I know there's a king that's feeling a certain kind of way right now because you trying to find clarity in a situation and it's long time overdue. Don't you realize that there are some people that they operate in a mindset of, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to know. And the reason why they do this is based off of fear. Because if it's was truth, guess what? Truth always gives you a choice. I know I'm talking to someone. So once again, how can they see your worth if they remove the choice? I'm saying this out of love, y'all, because I'm sick and tired of people taking L's. No, queen, you can't make a man be a man. And you can't put in all this effort in getting him to grow and depleting you. Same goes with you, king. I don't care how big you, how much you do and you lay the spread down. Can't make nobody eat. You can't make nobody do nothing they don't want to do. So take the emotion out of the equation and look at it logically. And if you have a problem with that, I'll do one better. Take the same scenario, remove you out of the scenario. Put two generic people in it and run the same scenario again and see what the equation ends up being. Remember, we only use 6% of our brain. So tell me again why you don't deserve to be happy. Tell me that. Some of y'all are doing time in your mind because of choices that you have made in your past. And you're saying, well, you know what? I have to do this sentence, this emotional sentence, because I never did that with the other people. And what's really traumatizing is their behaviors are really your behaviors. and you're seeing it. That's your discernment giving you validation, but that's your clarity on giving you a choice. Let me tell you something. Love don't hurt. But see, you let society convince you not to live you, to love you, to grow you, and you won't see tomorrow. You won't. Why? Because there's a suit sitting somewhere and they're looking at profit sharing. And they know that the more money they make is based off the more unstable you are. The more impulse you embrace, the more benefit they get. Because guess what? They don't take responsibility. They just put a product out there. If you decide to buy it, it falls on you. So I ask you again, you're not them. Be the exception to the rule. For those who know what I'm talking about, if you need a little help, I suggest go to your search engine, pull up the Temptations, the exception to the rule, and please listen to the lyrics. You want the pain to go away? You got to acknowledge what's broken. Pain don't go away by switching up castmates. I know people do this all the time. Well, I don't care, girl. I don't care, girl. I'm going to do me. And if I want to go and get my itch scratched, so what? At what price? Come on, look at it like this. Think of a dartboard and you're the bullseye, right? The commonality that everybody's been able to throw a dart on the board. You're the board. And when it's all said and done, they'll stop playing. And when you realize, guess what'll happen? You'll see all the impacts, but you'll also see the commonality of this. All these people got to play and they all left. Why? The commonality, because you won't love you. You won't love you. But you know what's really, really sad about this? You got some people that have children and they've allowed their illusions, their selfishness, and their denials to be the template of their development. And what's going to happen is these children are going to embrace the behaviors that have been shown. Y'all remember that commercial for those that are about in their 30s? And mind you, let me make this clear. It doesn't matter how much striving you do. It doesn't. If it's not blessed, it's going to fail. Um, you will not know who you are at the least until you hit 35 years old. You don't believe me? Watch this. The mindset that you had when you're 15 was not the mindset that you had when you were 18. The mindset that you had at 18 is not the mindset that you will have when you're 23. The mindset that you have at 23 is not the mindset that you have at 27. And the mindset that you have at 27 should be nothing but a template of what you will become when you're 35. But if you listen to them tell your story, it'll have a whole lot of holes in it. It'll have a whole lot of pain in it. It'll have a whole lot of neglect in it. But you know what won't have in it? Truth, courage, honor, fortitude, and the ability to love yourself. Why do you think relationships fail? You know what relationships serve? It's preparation to overall evolve you mentally, emotionally, financially, to show you what you don't need for yourself. not the people you're connected with. And guess what? If you've done the work, your reward will be a spiritual person, a person that will also have a testimony. But you know what else they'll have? They'll have the ability to protect your heart. They will hold the keys that will unlock the other side of your life. Because at the least, they're going to be able to love you in places that you can't. But see, you can't understand that until you make a conscious decision to go back to school. And what I mean by go back to school, that means is to learn, to enroll, to embrace. That person that looks at you in the mirror, you know that person that gets to see those beautiful eyes and those pearly whites, gets to breathe in the moment of just being you. I know Beyonce one time used to had a song called Me, Myself, and I. I know I'm speaking to somebody, but if you listen to that song, whoever wrote that song went through a period of transition and they had to go through some things to see the importance of their life. See, you can't never buy you. You can't. See, listen, my queens, the greatest trick ever done by man, by the devil, was to convince he don't exist. So guess what? That trick is still being going on every time you allow your insecurities to get the best of you. You are already made perfect, but it was required that you love yourself more. So if your environment says, well, you know what? Hey, I would prefer if you only had, if you could, they don't deserve to hear you breathe. Doesn't matter what tricks you've learned through your adulthood, the things that you think will make you set apart from the next or the last one. Doesn't matter because love is not in there. But I'm going to tell you what is. If you look a little deeper, you'll see a pattern. And I guarantee a commonality. And the commonality is the person that was there before you has some insight on the things you don't know. But you both are connected to the same person. And if you don't see your worth, guess what? You are going to be a part of that fraternity or sorority called pain. So once again, tell me again why you don't see your. Tell me again why you allow your fear to be your shield. Tell me again why you don't think that your life is worth living. Tell me again why you feel that the only way to exist is you got to look at the bottom of that glass. How about shoot up? How about get so high you forget your daily struggles? But you know what the commonality in that is too, for those who decide to get high and escape. Sooner or later, the clarity does come. The logic will come behind it. You'll end up having less money. And you'll also see where the damage was done by being vulnerable to your environment. That's not supposed to be your story. It never was. There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people who are making conscious decisions not to live their lives. And you know what happens to these people? Their lives are cut short. They are submerged in the abyss known as the darkness. Some will emotionally check out, and we know them as schizophrenic. And then there are those that will willfully embrace a love affair with their pain. And they think that, well, because I've gone through this struggle, justifies my behavior to any unsuspecting person. Oh, trust and believe. There are many men and women that loathe the opposite sex. Oh, yes. There are plenty. I know them as opportunities. There are plenty of men that hate women. Hate them. Hate them with a passion. And do not mind destroying your life. How about that backside? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would if we did. Yeah, doing them jailhouse tricks. Don't you know sodomy is nothing but another means of controlling you? Do you not understand that? But these little young girls, our babies, among queens, you don't know what your daughter doing? Everything that you don't know, guess what? The street does, because the street is teaching them. But guess what? Take ownership in this too. Everything that you failed not to do, compounded with the things that were shown, will be her path, his path. You surprised Johnny is aligned himself with a gang? People don't join gangs because it's something to do. They join gangs because they want to belong. But we also know that there's only two outcomes that come with that. One is a 3x5. The other is a plot. So ask yourself, why are you not looking at what is broken? You're gonna let another stolen moment distract you from you? What you afraid of? You afraid that you might finally be happy? Huh? Because guess what? Devil's work was never done because he still exists. And guess what? His demons gotta stay employed. So if you got this mindset that the devil's got a pitchfork, red suit, horns, newsflash, before he betrayed God, he was the number one angel. He was most beautiful. So what makes you think that he doesn't know you? What does what does it not has it not rationalized your thinking to like, wait a minute, you think he can't give you what you want? The one thing he'll never give you is love. He'll use every trick in the book to get you to betray yourself. So tell me again, why you don't think you're worth living. And I'll show you a person that's in pain. Hope you guys have a blessed weekend. I didn't want to be that winded, but there's a story on social media right now, and you know, a lot of people are gonna be talking about it. And it's sad. It's really, really tragic. But your life shouldn't be one of them, y'all. It shouldn't be in contingent of who you rubbing elbows with. How about who is sharing your bed? How about who's sitting at your table? Or who is paying your bills? You gotta understand something. You can't call yourself an adult if you're not handling your business. But see, a lot of people get this twisted. Society, queens, I told you this for 4 years. Society does not and don't want to invest in you. Society wants to destroy you because they know this. The more unstable you become, you're going to affect your young. If mama's not right, they ain't right. King, it doesn't give you a pass to continue bullshit. You can't look yourself in the mirror and call yourself a man if you don't have a relationship with God. You ain't living. But more importantly, you can't be a contradiction too because, okay, another man is raising your child and you're all bent out of shape. Hmm? You all sore, you all sour because there's another man has walked in to take on the responsibility that you supposed to be holding down. Let me tell you something. You ain't got to worry about her. Better worry about your extensions, your children, your child. Because what you don't input in them, the next one will. Them runaways don't get out there on the street just because they came out of a happy home. And trust and believe, there are a lot of women out here that have a hole in their heart in the shape of their fathers. And you wonder why they're so promiscuous? They're so into, let's turn up. Because indirectly, they've been turned out. God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. Don't matter how much money you got, who you know. You can't buy your self-respect, nor your character. All that is given the moment you took your first breath. Love yourself more. And before I go, if you are going through something, go talk to someone. And I'm not talking about your friends, because your friends like you broken. And if you look a little deeper, you'll come to see this too. You also understand they've been sitting there the whole time watching you fall. You know why? Because misery loves company. It's time for you to get up from that table and claim your life back. Be blessed.